Right now, in this exact moment, two people are waking up to the same kind of morning. Same alarm, same general life situation. They've got similar jobs, similar pressures, and similar bank accounts. One of them rolls over and immediately reaches for their phone. They scroll for 11 minutes. They haven't even stood up yet, and their brain has already been fed 36 pieces of content, 6 notifications, 3 mild stressors, and 1 piece of news that really annoyed them. They get up, they make some coffee, and they look at the day ahead. And quietly, without even saying it out loud, they feel like nothing's really going to work out today. The other person gets up, does something hard first, like maybe some exercise, maybe some journaling, which they initially didn't feel like doing. They feel the resistance and they push through. They make the same coffee, look at the same day ahead, and they feel like something good is coming. Same life, completely different reality. Now, here's the question that nobody's asking. Why? It's not motivation, not discipline, not attitude, and it's not mindset. It's dopamine. And today I'm going to tell you exactly what the neuroscience says about why your dopamine baseline is literally constructing the reality that you live in, and 6 things that you can do to take it back. Stay with me because this one changes how you see everything. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is kill a myth, because most people, when they hear the word dopamine, they think pleasure. Here's what dopamine is. It's not your pleasure chemical, it's your pursuit chemical. Neuroscientist Andrew Huberman, and this is backed by decades of research going back to the work of Wolfram Schultz in the 90s. He's been very clear about this. Dopamine doesn't fire when you get the reward. It fires in anticipation of the reward. It fires when your brain believes that effort is going to be worth it. Think about that for a second. Your dopamine system is not asking, does this feel good? It's asking, is this worth going after? And here's where it gets important, critically important, because dopamine doesn't just influence your motivation, it influences your perception. Your dopamine baseline, the background level of dopamine that your brain is running on right now, today, constantly acts like a filter on your entire experience of reality. High baseline, your brain is scanning for opportunity. Your brain is pattern matching for possibility. When something goes wrong, you see it as a problem to solve. And when you look at the future, you feel like you have some agency in shaping it. Low baseline, that exact same world looks completely different. Same circumstances, but different. Your brain is now scanning for threat, for evidence of failure, for reasons why things don't work out. And here's the part that makes this really uncomfortable. You don't even know it's happening. You just think you're being realistic. You think you're seeing clearly, but you're not seeing clearly. You're actually seeing things through a filter, a biological filter that is shaped by your dopamine baseline. This isn't metaphorical, it's neurological. Your dopamine system has direct inputs into the prefrontal cortex part of your brain, which is responsible for planning and decision making and how you evaluate future possibilities. When dopamine signaling is low, that prefrontal cortex literally processes information differently. It's less able to imagine positive future outcomes and it defaults to threat detection. 2 people, same life. One sees possibility everywhere, one sees nothing but problems, and neither of them know that dopamine is the variable. That is a stunning fact, and it should actually make you take what comes next very seriously. So here's the uncomfortable part. Modern life, by design, largely is systematically destroying your dopamine baseline. And I want to be really precise about how this works because there's a concept here that people miss. There's a difference between a dopamine spike and your dopamine baseline. A dopamine spike is a temporary surge. It happens when you get a notification, when you scroll and see something interesting, when you eat junk food, or when you get a hit of validation. It feels like dopamine's going up. And in the moment it is, but here's what happens next. After every spike, your baseline drops. Think of it like this. Imagine your dopamine system is a bank account. A spike is like taking money out of the bank. And the thing about cheap spikes, the manufactured low-effort hits that modern technology is engineered specifically to deliver, is that when you take the money out, you pay back less than you borrowed. Every time you reach for the phone out of boredom, that's a withdrawal. Every time you scroll because you don't want to sit with discomfort, withdrawal. Every time you get a notification and you check it before finishing the thing that you were doing, withdrawal. The neuroscience here is clear. Anna Lembeck at Stanford, one of the world's leading researchers on dopamine and addiction, she describes this as the dopamine deficit state. You spike, you crash below baseline, you feel worse than before. You reach for another spike just to feel normal again. And your baseline, your resting perception of reality, it keeps dropping. This is not a moral argument. I'm not telling you that scrolling is bad because it's shallow or lazy. I'm telling you that your scrolling is costing you your capacity to perceive possibility. It's literally biologically narrowing the reality that you're able to see. And the technology is designed to do exactly this. The infinite scroll, the notifications, these are not accidents. These are deliberate applications of the same psychological architecture that makes slot machines addictive. The people who built these platforms, they understood dopamine loops before most of us even knew what dopamine was. So when you feel like nothing's working, when you feel stuck, and when you feel like you're spinning your wheels and other people seem to see opportunities that you just can't find, there's a real chance that what you're experiencing, it's not a character flaw, it's a chemical one, and that is fixable. And I'm going to tell you how to do it. I'm going to give you 6 things, and I want to be honest with you, none of them are really easy, but none of them are complicated either. The reason most people don't do them isn't that they don't know them, it's that they keep choosing the spike over the slow build. But once you understand what that choice is actually costing you, that does change. Number 1 is exercise, and I don't mean just a slow walk, although that is better than nothing. I mean hard exercise, the kind where you want to stop but you don't. Here's the science. Hard physical exercise triggers the release of a protein called BDNF. It's brain-derived neurotrophic factor. And the way neuroscientists describe this is almost poetic. They call it miracle grow for the brain. BDNF literally rebuilds neural connections. It restores your brain's structural capacity to process dopamine effectively. It doesn't just spike dopamine, it actually repairs the receptors and pathways that dopamine travels through. That's a fundamentally different thing. You're not borrowing, you're building. There's also a secondary mechanism here that matters. When you exercise hard, you push through the discomfort and you finish. Your brain gets evidence, real embodied evidence, not just positive self-talk that leads to a payoff. That is your dopamine system learning at a visceral level that hard things are worth doing, and that is a baseline deposit. Try at a minimum 4 times a week, make it hard enough that it counts. Number 2 is cold exposure, and I know you've heard this one, and I know half of you immediately thought, I'm not doing that. Stick with me. A cold shower, not even a full ice bath, a cold shower has been shown in multiple studies to raise dopamine levels by 200 and 300%. But here's what makes this different from every other thing that raises dopamine by that amount. It's not a spike, it's a sustained shift. The research, including work cited by Huberman from studies on cold water immersion, shows that the dopamine elevation from cold exposure is not the rapid spike and crash cycle. It's a slow rise that sustains for hours. That is a baseline deposit, not a withdrawal. And the mechanism is partly the shock to the system and partly, crucially, the deliberate act of choosing discomfort over comfort. That choice, that moment where you turn the tap to cold and you get in anyway, your brain notices that. Your nervous system updates its model of who you are and what you're capable of. That is not nothing. 2 minutes cold every morning if you can, even if you hate it, especially if you hate it. And I hate the cold. Number 3, finish hard things. I know this one sounds simple, but it's the most underrated thing on this list. Every time you set an intention and you follow through on it, so you decide to exercise first and then you notice the urge to skip it and you don't, your brain does something specific. It updates its model of what's possible for you. Your nervous system runs on evidence. It's not running on what you think about yourself. It's not running on your self-concept or your affirmations. It's running on the pattern of what you actually do repeatedly over time. And when the pattern is, I feel resistance, so I avoid that hard thing and I scroll instead, the system updates. The model becomes effort doesn't lead anywhere, don't bother. But when the pattern is, I feel resistance and I push through, the system updates the other way. The model becomes effort leads to reward. This is your dopamine system learning in real time through your actual behavior, not your words, but your behavior. So start small if you need to, absurdly small. It doesn't matter, but finish what you start because every completion is a deposit. Every incompletion is a withdrawal. Number 4 is to deliberately delay gratification. Here's something that will reframe how you think about wanting things. The anticipation phase, that period between wanting something and getting it, is actually where dopamine builds. That feeling of wanting, of looking forward to, of being on the way to something, that is a dopamine state. And when you cut it short, so when you reach for that immediate hit instead of letting the anticipation develop, you don't just interrupt that feeling, you deprive your system of the build. Think about the last time that you were genuinely excited about something that you were working towards. That feeling of momentum, of possibility, of there being something really good coming, that was your dopamine baseline elevated by anticipation. Now think about what we do instead. The moment that we feel any kind of wanting or restlessness, we reach for the closest available spike, either a phone, food, or distraction, and we cut the build short every single time. What would happen if we let it build? What would happen if the next time you felt restless or bored or like you wanted something, you just let that feeling sit for a while? Let the anticipation develop. Let the motivation build on its own, because that's what you're doing if you leave it alone. Delay is not deprivation. Delay is construction. Number 5 is sleep. I'm not going to spend long on this one because you already know that you should be sleeping better and you're probably not doing it. So I'll just give you the mechanism and let it land. Your dopamine receptors, so the places in your brain where dopamine actually binds and creates its effect, they restore during sleep. They literally replenish overnight. And without adequate sleep, they don't do that. And here's a brutal truth. It doesn't matter how many of the other things you do on this list. If your sleep is broken, your dopamine system can't recover. The receptors just aren't there to receive the signal. You're trying to fill a bucket with holes in it. 7 to 9 hours, non-negotiable, dark room, no screens for an hour before bed, because the blue light suppresses melatonin, which disrupts the sleep architecture, which prevents receptor restoration. That mechanism is direct. Your baseline can't be rebuilt without sleep. Everything on this list depends on it. Number 6, cut the cheap spikes. And I want to be really clear about what I mean here, because people hear this and they think I'm telling them not to enjoy things. I'm not. Pleasure is fine. It's human. Go ahead and enjoy your food and your entertainment and your life. That's great. What I'm talking about is a specific kind of hit. It's that manufactured, algorithm optimized hit. The scroll when you're bored. The check when you don't need to check. The reach for the phone when you're sitting with mild discomfort. That specific behavior. Every scroll you don't take, that's a deposit. Every time you sit with discomfort and let it pass, deposit. Every time you feel the urge to check and you don't, deposit. You're not depriving yourself, you're actually building. You're slow compounding your capacity to perceive reality the way people with high baselines perceive it, with possibility, with agency, and with a sense that effort is going to be worth it. That is worth more than whatever was on the other end of the scroll, surely. So let me bring this back to where we started. We've got 2 people, same life, completely different realities. One sees possibility, one sees problems, and they don't even know it's happening. You now know why, and you know what's happening beneath the surface of all of that. And you know what to do about it. This isn't about hacking your brain. It's not about biohacking or optimizing or any of the other language that gets thrown around in this space. It's simpler and it's more important than that. It's about understanding the reality that you perceive is not fixed and it is within meaningful limits, controllable. The people who seem to move through the world with more energy, more belief, and more ability to see what's possible, they're not fundamentally different from you. Their baseline is just different. And baselines can be rebuilt. But here's the thing I want to leave you with. You're making a choice right now. Every small decision you make from here, get up and move, sit with the discomfort, finish the hard thing, put the phone down, go to sleep when you're tired, is either a deposit or a withdrawal. There's no neutral. And the account you're building or depleting right now is the lens through which you see your entire life. So protect your baseline, build your baseline, because your dopamine doesn't just determine how you feel, it determines what you're able to see. And if you can't see possibility, you can't pursue it. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you in the next episode.